Hello and welcome to episode 37, All-Star Popularity Contest, if you're from LA or Golden State. My name's Harry. I'm in the studio with...
Ben. I'm here as well. We have so much to talk about. Where are we starting?
In the flesh.
In the flesh, in the studio.
Mum, I did it. I went and picked up Ben from his house. Are you proud of me?
Till I got my car back. That's a whole story.
I got so much smack talk to me about being too lazy to go get you. Could I just say that my mum actually listens, like, my mum doesn't listen to every single podcast we do, but of course the one that she did listen to was the one where I talked about being too lazy to go get you.
So she's bagging you out now. We've got the studio. We have to use it. So it's good to be here. Good to be here.
I'm excited. A lot's happened over when we last chatted.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start, but I want to start off. I want to point us in one direction. Can we talk about Dono?
Yeah, I think I was going to say we've got to start with Dono, surely. What a game. I mean, the news is already well and truly circulated, but can we just talk about how impressive this was? Drops 71 points.
In a comeback win.
In a comeback win of all things as well. I mean, yeah, you don't need to check your sound. That was correct. 71 points. I mean, it was a Kobe-esque performance, dare I say. Dare I say?
Yeah, no, I think 71's up there with Kobe and he's put himself up there with Kobe, MJ, Harden at his peak.
Yeah.
He has the third best regular season game score.
Yeah.
Which is like a combination of all the stats. So he's beaten out Harden, who had some pretty crazy regular season games.
In Houston, he had some crazy 60-point games plus a massive triple-double with it as well. And yeah, this is third best regular season game score behind Kobe and MJ. I mean, pretty high company right there.
Can we... How hyped... So Cleveland are only in fourth. They're 2.5 games behind.
Yeah.
But I keep seeing good games out of these guys.
Yeah.
I wish they were a little bit more consistent. But even if you look at the last couple, they beat the Suns twice, they beat the Bulls twice, Bucks, Mavs.
I think the consistency has been pretty good. A little fact I want to point out too is that he dropped 71. He goes off. So just for context as well, they were trailing in this game, hit some huge shots down the straight, and kind of like Doncic did the previous week, had the free throw, misses it, gets it off the rim behind two other players, and gets a really tough shot to put it back in. So insane shot, sends it to OT, where he just goes off for even more points, brings up to 71. But the thing that I love is that the next game, I think they were tied or down 1 point. He drives in, draws all the defense, and then cheeky little dish over to Evan Mobley, who splashes it. He's facilitating and hitting these points too.
That clip was so good.
So clean. It was just simple play.
Everyone was
team play.
I remember watching that. I forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, Dono drives in, draws everyone, and Mobley just does a nice little cut on the free throw line, and he just goes straight up, nails it. And I'm glad that Dono saw that opportunity.
Yep.
But two, I'm also glad that Mobley got the chance to be the man. The more people that can take clutch shots, the better.
100%. I was about to get onto that as well, and dare I throw some shade at my own team, the Jazz, but this is what Dono has to work with now. He's got a team with multiple options. Can you imagine if he's driving, he's had a 71-point game, I don't know if he would on the Jazz, but he hasn't got the same options if he was still in Utah. He hasn't got those same options.
I think that was always the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It was only a two-man game.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Rudy, it was him and Rudy were the two.
Rudy's very one-dimensional. And doesn't have the versatility of Mobley or even Allen, really. So, yeah, having all those options, Dono can have these big games when he needs to, but when the whole teams are firing,
he's looking look, he was very good in Utah. Very good.
Yeah.
He's had a couple. Remind me, he's had a couple of All-Star selections, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's had 2 or 3 now. I think 2.
He was
in Utah.
He was very good in Utah.
Yeah.
But I thought he'd play better with the Cavs. Obviously, you play better when you're with better teammates, but the step up that he's had is higher than I thought.
Yep. I think, honestly, he went from kind of fringe All-Star, Rudy and him were maybe 12th pick on each of those teams. through to now him being absolute lock. Like, it would be crazy for him not to make an All-Star appearance this year. So, yeah, I think
I think he's showing all the things that we criticized him for in Utah.
Yep.
Are all the things he's doing now.
Yeah, it's been funny how that works. We call some people out for something, and then they completely change it on us.
Maybe it's it's the personnel, the system. Maybe it's a bit of everything. But the Cleveland seems to suit him a lot better than the Jazz ever did.
I think one of the big calls, just to throw back to it, was I think his shot selection, he wasn't very efficient. Like, he'd still be getting his points, but he wouldn't be very efficiently doing it. I think that's because he was really the only major scoring option on that team. I think Cleveland, having the options now, they can move the ball, they can get him cleaner looks. So.
He's taking way better shots.
Yeah, and he's actually he's an improved shooter too. Like, props to him. He's obviously been putting the work in because his percentages have gone up too. So he's taking much cleaner shots as well. So.
Super exciting.
Yeah, pretty high.
So let's keep it in the East, partially in the East. I got to, the other day, which is now like a week and a half ago now, but I watched the first Pelicans versus the Philadelphia 76ers game, which was really, really, really interesting because obviously Philly are back. They're in fifth in the league now after a shocking start.
Yep.
The East is normalizing, I think, the way we thought it would, but we could talk a little bit more about that maybe later if we've got time. But Philly are back in fifth, which is, I thought they'd be a little bit higher, but at least they're sort of normalizing now where they should be at the bare minimum.
Yep.
And the and the Pelicans are sitting in third. They're 2.5 games behind now, but they're still near the top. They're still playing incredibly well. And it was such a good game to watch because the first, I would say that Zion, I think he got like 20 to 30 points. I think he got 30 points off memory. It was a very quiet 30. The first half of the game, he was getting Giannis walled.
Yeah.
Every time he touched the ball, there'd be 3 defenders in his face, and he couldn't do much. But Pelicans had other options so they just started using Zion as a big magnet.
Yeah.
And started passing it to other people. And then McCollum, I think off memory, this is the game when McCollum got the Pelicans franchise record for the most threes hit in the game.
11 3-pointers, yeah.
Which was, McCollum was just unstoppable. And eventually they had to stop. But, they were properly focusing on Zion. And it was kind of working. Like, the Philly started off very hot, but Pelicans stayed in there. And I think it was a great game to watch because Zion just wasn't able to do whatever he wanted. He had to really pick his spots a bit more. But he held on. He picked his spots, but the second half he really started to pick up when they couldn't keep up the coverage.
Yeah.
McCollum was going off. They had to ease up. They couldn't just focus on Zion. And then that's when Zion started getting points.
Yeah.
And started slamming it down. And I was so happy to see that because in previous years, the Pelicans have kind of been like our offense is faltering. What do we do? Just chuck it up.
Yeah.
I remember last year and the year before, we've been really confused because on paper it was such a good team and they just at certain points just couldn't get, especially near the end of the quarters or near the end of the game, they just couldn't get anything to fall. They had no reaction to anything except for ISO when in trouble.
I think part of that though is just the team getting some momentum because they've had Zion out for large chunks of the time. Last season was when they made some of the moves, so now they've had more time to really acclimatize and get used to each other. Now we're starting to see some great chemistry and results. Like you said, Zion's like a big just gravity well, drawing in the defense, got shooters around him, easy buckets.
Can't leave McCollum open too much.
Nope.
He just lays off. I don't want to talk this team up too much because I really, really don't want to curse them. I really don't. But it was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Zion's having a tough time. He was not having a fun time with how hard they were defending him. But then McCollum was just like, don't worry, boy, I gotcha. Pew, pew. It was so fun.
But that's the impact Zion has. He's making defenses entirely adjust. Very much like you said, like Giannis. They're Giannis walling him. I think that's when the rest of the team really steps up and supports him. But it's great to see the young guys, like Grizzlies in second, Pelicans in third. These young teams just really in their prime now. So it's exciting. And
Philadelphia is still this curious case of Philadelphia. Some days they're just unstoppable, and other days you're just bro, this is a first round exit team. It's just I can't get a good read on them. Obviously, Doc Rivers is the problem. #FireDoc. But I just don't get this team. Some days they're absolutely amazing, and other teams that other days they're just really rough. Like Harden's been stepping it up recently. He's been playing look, they're 7-3 on their last 10, and I think a lot of that has been like Harden's getting that more consistent 20 to 25 a game, which I think is what they need him to do.
Yep.
But and Maxley's coming back, so like they've been without Maxley. I just don't get this team. But I do have a quick fun stat that I saw that the Sixers are tied for last in rebounding, and no championship team has been ranked below 25 in the last 10 years. Most championship winners are ranked top half in the league.
Yeah, because that's something you can't be lazy on. You have to get your boards. So, and it's kind of crazy because they've got Embiid, who's one of the biggest like dominant bigs in the game right now.
And
I mean,
Toby.
he's yeah.
Toby's tall.
Yeah. I think it's a team effort because I think there's only so much Embiid can do. I mean, he's out there dropping almost 34 points a game on average. He's playing his heart out, so I think it's a team effort. Rebounding.
I think that is what it comes down to. Is that like, look, I love PJ Tucker. I think box score wise, what he does on defense doesn't show.
Yep.
But when he's averaging 3 shots a game and making one of them, like he's averaging like 3 points a game, and like. Sure, that's like, again, defensively he brings a lot to the table.
Yeah.
But that's when you look at the spreads for other teams who like all of their starters average at least 10 points. I think that adds up. Like you can sort of not discount PJ Tucker, but you know that his first move isn't to shoot the ball. He's going to try and look for someone else. So you can kind of not you know what I mean? Like you can't like leave him open, but you can't.
He's not going to go off for 30 at any game, whereas some other starters will.
You don't need to clamp him.
Some bigger games, yeah. Exactly.
And I think that's what it's going to come down to. A lot of these teams have great 2 to 3 options. It's going to come down to that 7 or 8 man rotation that you have. The 3 people coming off your bench and your other starters are crucial.
Yeah.
Absolutely crucial.
I think once we see Maxey back, I think we can see a step up from Philly because honestly, even though he's still young, he's only in like his second, third season.
Yeah.
I think he brings a lot to this team.
Yeah.
So
Thibault will get less minutes now that Maxley's back.
Yeah.
And then they've only got sort of, because like Thibault's again and more of a defensive person than offensive. They'll lower Thibault down. Maxley will get more because he's a bit more of a scoring threat. And then PJ Tucker isn't as ouchy when you play him.
Yeah. In the East as well, just quickly, there have been so many big games. We almost get numb to some of these points. We had Luka and Dono and going crazy. But Giannis dropped 55 the other game. He had 45 and 43 point games before that, then dropped 30. And then he had a 9-point game and gets pulled in the third quarter by the coach.
Respect. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, props to Mike Budenholzer for being like, it's not your night. I'm going to take you off to your absolute star player.
I love it when coaches do that. Like, I think the Nets coach is the same. He's like, hey, I have like so many players that deserve to close out a game.
Yeah.
And I haven't got enough spots. So whoever's playing the best on the night gets the shot.
Yeah. I think unless it's like, I don't know, a really clutch situation and you just need Giannis' size on the court, whatever. But other than that, props for pulling him. If he's not feeling it that night, someone else playing better, fair enough.
Absolutely. I think sometimes like some coaches ignore that other players have been playing well to get their stars out. And sometimes I think you need to be the bigger man and go, hey, this guy's on fire.
Yeah.
And you're not.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they did lose that game by a significant margin. And it was against Charlotte of all teams, which isn't great.
It's to Charlotte.
Yeah. I mean, look, Giannis didn't show up, so that's a big chunk of their team gone.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's what happens if Giannis has a bad game in the finals? Do they just lose?
I suppose. I mean,
who steps up on that team if Giannis is having a bad night?
I think the issue was everyone had a bad night because normally your backup options on that team would be, Drew to some extent, probably Brook Lopez. He can pop some threes if you need the big splash mountain to do that. But literally no one showed up. I think the leading scorer was Bobby Portis on that with 19 points. After that, it was 12 points to Grayson Allen.
He's a nice bench piece at best.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
Bobby.
Honestly, it kind of all just fell apart. They kind of threw in the towel. Props to Terry Rozier who dropped 39 that night. So I think Charlotte was having a good game. They having a bad game. So it balances out.
Scary Terry.
Scary Terry.
Is Middleton still hurt?
He wasn't playing the game, so I think he's out again. So
that man is so important for the Bucks.
Yep. you can see the difference that happens because he's pretty much that like option when Giannis isn't on fire. Although he's third in the league in points, so he's averaging 32, which is pretty crazy. But anyway, when Giannis isn't hitting, Middleton will step up, and without him, the rest of the team's good pieces, but not enough to win.
I disrespect Middleton so often because I don't think he's that good, but he is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because he came from, I think, the G League. Like, he was an absolute bench warmer and then eventually rose into this all-star. So he's a bit of a surprise, honestly, to get to the level.
He's just a quiet all-star. I don't know. He just doesn't light me up like other people do.
I think, honestly, no disrespect, but I think people forget he was even an all-star. Like, I think 2-time all-star. So, yeah, he just kind of goes there, does his job, goes home.
Sorry, bro. It's the Bucks. Giannis is just such a bright light.
Yeah, I think it's just, that's the thing. Giannis is such a huge personality and huge player, so kind of makes him seem a bit smaller. But Bucks still in third currently. Quickly, in terms of big games, I got to shout out Lauri Markkanen had a career high. I think it was 49 points.
I almost spat my water out when I read that.
He's had some absolute monster dunks, by the way. Shout out to Lauri. Honestly, potential all-star, we'll see, maybe not, because the Jazz have slipped down to 12th now. So like you said earlier, you called it equilibrium. Things are balancing back out. Things are going back to how they should be. And no offense to the Jazz, they started way better than they should have, starting to bring it back down to earth a little bit more. Do you reckon they're going to stay down there, or do you think there could be a bit of a push back up?
Here's the thing, right? They're only 20 wins and 23 losses. They're half a game behind LA, and they're one game behind the Trailblazers, Minnesota, and the Phoenix Suns.
Sitting in 8th, yep.
And then a game and a half behind the Clippers and Golden State, which gets you up to 6th. So no, I think they're still... they're very much, I think, a play-in tournament game. Or, dare I say it, they can still compete for 6th.
Yeah.
I don't think they're out of it yet. They're not that far behind.
Yeah, the West is that close. So
it's that close that if they can get a good run going, it's completely plausible.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they're not going to beat my Rockets for tanking for
Wembanyama,
So, look, I don't know. I don't know what you do with the Jazz because I thought they blew it up, but even when they blow it up, they're still playing well. Markkanen, I wish that the Cavs could somehow have gotten Mitchell without giving up Markkanen.
Oh, because imagine if he was playing at that level on the Cavs would be unstoppable.
So
crazy.
I think he was unfortunately like the best worst option
the best piece they were willing to give up. So,
I think it was the best decision, but it just sucks to see him balling out so hard and him to be stuck on the Jazz.
But I mean, it's good for both teams. At least the Jazz got a player who's really come into their own, and he's got a chance now to shine. And Donovan obviously is in a great place now in Cavs. So yeah, I think it's a win-win.
It's great.
Yeah. I think we got to quickly mention 2 surprises. So real quick, Golden State Warriors up in 6th. I personally didn't think they'd be making such a push. I think as of today, I think they've jumped up to 6th now. So depends if you're looking at ESPN or the current NBA website. I think including today's game because ESPN takes a little bit to update.
Wow.
So yeah, they've actually jumped up to 6th. To be fair, they're like both at 50% with the Clippers.
ESPN get good.
Yeah, it also depends on tiebreakers. So they're pretty much 6th.
I guess they're both 6. I guess they're.
But honestly, they've made a bit of a step up. They've been a bit more consistent.
But then they lost to the Magic the other day, bro. Can't tell me that they're getting better and then they lose to the Magic and the Detroit Pistons.
Which, to be fair, Sadiq Bey hit a crazy 3-pointer to win that.
One of those teams beat them at home.
Yeah, that's true.
It might have been both. I don't remember now.
Yeah.
Hold up.
And the Warriors have been pretty solid at home because they've been garbage on the road. But no, I think it was actually...
Dude, they lost to the Pistons and the Magic at home. Dude!
I guess they've decided to be bad at home as well now.
Dude, you cannot stop me from saying that the Golden State Warriors are #the Golden State Pretenders.
Well, I guess we still called it then, right? Like, even though they've moved up in the standings, they're kind of blowing
they played
games.
Well, but it's the same thing. It's like they played against the Hawks, the Trailblazers, the Jazz, the Hornets. I expect you guys to beat those teams.
Yeah. They're a bit of an easier
beating
run.
the Grizzlies, I'll admit that's a good win, But then before that, they lost to the Nets and the Knicks and the 76ers and the Bucks and the Pacers, who somehow still don't like to lose and don't know how to tank.
Yeah, I'm still calling it. The Pacers are doing better than expected.
Pacers should be trash. They should be, but they're not. So, look, it's great that the Golden State Warriors are 6. Good on them. They're still a first-round exit.
Yeah, I still say that as first-round exit.
They're still pretenders.
Until they can show a bit more consistency, yeah.
Did you see, there's been a clip circulating of from the conference finals last year against Grizzlies, and Steph Curry was, like, BMing Ja and Brooks, like, after, like, the 4th game or something. Like, he literally, like, after the game had ended, he walked up to them and was like, "Yeah, how's it going?" Like was being an absolute lots of rude words.
I haven't seen that.
Oh my goodness! I'll have to show you afterwards. It honestly, my perception. What's the word I'm looking for here? My opinion of the Golden State Warriors has been very steadily dropping this year. I've been very disappointed in how they've been carrying themselves.
Yeah.
But that clip of Steph, my goodness.
And honestly, I was gonna say, their win against the Grizzlies, I think, is a bit of a grudge match because they're starting to get that beef with the Grizzlies team. It is. Which I kind of like to see, to be honest.
Look, it's a beef match. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Even if, like, Jar's like, it can't be a beef match if we're being blown out. But after a game and coming to, like, go, like, you know, what's the goad? Is that the word, goad?
Yeah.
Goad someone for losing.
Yeah.
That for me, like, when the moment the whistle plays, I'm very competitive. I think, like, smack talking is fine, being competitive is fine to a certain level. But the moment the whistle ends and the game's over, like, that's it. Like, you need to be, like, humble, respectful.
I think that's when the sportsmanship needs to kick in. You can't be like trash talk in game. Sure, go for it. It's part of the game.
Be absolutely wild in the game.
Yeah, but after the game,
the NBA. I think, but after the NBA, after the game though, you've got to. I think you've got to be humble and respectful. And at the end of the day, like, both teams, like, if you've given your all, like, you should be respectful. And I did not like seeing that clip of him literally, like, walking up to a defeated Jar and being like, "Hey, how's it going?
Yeah,
we good." And it's just like, bro,
we've discussed that, like, balance between, like, cockiness and then just rudeness, and I think it goes too far past that a lot of the time. So yeah. And
I guess here's the question, right? Because you've been a fan with the NBA longer than me, so I don't know much about Kobe. Would Kobe? The question is, I know for a fact that Kobe would have been the loudest talker during the game.
He's had some good moments.
Would Kobe have smack talked someone after a game?
No. Like, I'm not even the biggest Kobe fan, but straight up no. Like, in the game, he will be getting in your head more than any other player would.
Absolutely.
But after the game, no. I feel like it's all respect after the game. At least that's my opinion. I might be wrong, but I feel like Kobe just would. Yeah,
I wasn't watching the NBA when Kobe was around.
Yeah, it's a different type of competitive. Like, he's going to be trash talking you all game. He's going to be right up in your grill. As soon as the game is over, it's nothing but respect. So
that's kind of what I've been like, because I know MJ was a bit of a trash talker as well. Yeah. But when things happen, like, the way I try and rationalize it is like, what would Kobe have done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think because he was like outside of him and MJ, I think he was crazier than MJ.
I think, well, MJ, I feel like MJ's one of the goats for trash talk on court. I think MJ would also trash talk, like, after the game, whereas I feel like Kobe had a little bit more restraint. Like, it's a bit more.
I think Kobe talked a lot when I talk about, like he talked a lot on the field, but, like, in practice and stuff, like, he would trash his teammates as well.
Oh yeah.
Like, he had these standards,
both like that, yeah.
And I don't think MJ ever got that bad. Like, he was like,
MJ was pretty bad too. The two of them both have that mentality that's just, like, absolute drive to win at all costs.
Yeah.
So
I can't. But I just don't think that Kobe would be, like, rubbing your face in it after a game.
No, not.
I think that's important.
No. I hate talking about the same teams over and over, but we have to quickly touch on the Lakers because they are on a 5-game win streak at the moment. Is this the curse of opinions again?
Why can't they just stay bad? My life is so much more enjoyable when they're bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're on a 5-game win streak, and we've been talking a lot of smack. To be fair, it was actually very funny. Today, a rumor came out that apparently LeBron is frustrated with the Lakers and he wants to get traded to the Nets.
Wow.
Which I don't know who you'd trade for. I don't know how you'd make the salaries work because personally, I think LeBron gets paid a little bit too much for what. Well, you know what?
It's a tough one
though, because he's getting really good. He got a 30-point game the other day. When he was slowing down a little bit last year, I thought him getting as much money as he was going to hurt the team because him getting as much money as he can means there's less roster flexibility. Like he could have taken a 10 mil pay cut, and they could have got another decent role player or two role players for like 5 to 10 mil a piece, right?
Yeah.
But he took more money, which. Does he need it? That's the thing that's always confused me.
Doesn't need it, but he's very, very smart outside of basketball, like money wise. So he's going to take what he can get. I'm
just confused why some of these like max player people don't take more pay cuts more often because to get. Like, do you want to win?
Yeah. I think it has happened in the past. I think some players have been willing to take a bit of a drop.
Harden took a pay cut this year.
Yeah, I think actually was it? I can't remember which team it was, but some of those super teams like. It's like, how do they fit them all on the payroll? Something has to give. So I think in the past, occasionally happens.
I thought LeBron wanted to win, which is why I was surprised when he got as much money as he could for the next 2 years.
I mean, to his credit, he's still balling. Like, he's still
he's balling. He deserves it. But
I think the trade-off to improve the team as a whole would be worth it. And I agree with that. That's fair.
But the Lakers have been playing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they've had easier games. They played the Hawks, the Hornets, the Heat. The Hawks again, and then the Kings. So they haven't had the hardest games, but, and they've only just squeezed out some of those wins too.
Look, Kobe's rolling in his grave. They're like celebrating winning a 5-game win streak against nobodies. But look, it's still a 5-game win streak.
Yeah.
So that rumor came out about LeBron wanting to go to the Nets, and he pretty much tweeted straight away that he was happy where he was. He's focusing on his game and improving the people around him, and that it's management's job to worry about roster movements.
Fair enough. Honestly, the rumor sounds a little far-fetched. Like, if I was LeBron, I'd want to leave too, but the idea of like picking teams that he'd be going to, I think that's a bit unrealistic.
I think that's completely realistic. That's what all-stars do. They tell you which teams they want to go to. I think that regardless, he's made his bed and he has to sleep in it.
Yeah. I think the thing that I think is unrealistic is he's not going to go anywhere.
I don't think so.
If you ask him, would you like to be in a different team? He'd be like, sure, I'd like to play on the Nets with KD. Like,
I think everyone would.
Yeah.
But I think also he knew what he was doing when he signed for another 2 years. We've said this before. He wanted to stay in LA for family. He doesn't want to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I just think it's funny that he says that he doesn't have a hand in roster decisions.
When
I think he clearly has his hand in the honey pot.
Influence.
Just a little too much. I'm sorry, Russ, but that was a very, very bad trade. I'm pretty sure Russ is a Clutch client, right?
Good question. But
I'm pretty sure.
You think a lot of those moves...
3/4 of the Lakers team is Clutch clients.
Coincidence, that.
Coinky dinks.
Yeah.
So the Lakers have been playing well. Screw you. I'm still not worried.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a playoff team, but it's interesting.
They're in 11th.
Yeah. Or do I say now that they're going to play really well and go playoffs, because then it'll jinx it and then they won't make it? It's always the curse.
What was my bet? Did I say playoffs?
I'm pretty sure. Actually, we haven't technically made an official locked-in.
No, I've just said they won't make the semis.
Yeah. It was semis, I think. Yeah, sorry, it was conference semis. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident with that still.
Yep. Yeah.
Maybe I think there's still a good chance that they could make play-in and then first round, but I don't think they'll make it out of the first round.
No.
They're on the fringe at the moment. Like, they definitely have the personnel to make the first round.
Yeah.
Play-in,
debate, but
look,
it could happen.
On paper, their team is good enough to make the play-ins.
Yeah.
On paper.
Yeah.
And I'm being nice here. I'm being really nice to the Lakers.
Right, with healthy AD, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just whether he's healthy or not.
Yeah. Overall, so it's plausible, but there's no way they're making the semis.
We don't need to get the icy hot out just yet. So.
I'm safe. I'm pretty confident.
How are we going for time? Should we be up to some hot sauce?
We're almost at the hot sauce.
Okay.
Can we just we talked about the Nets very quickly before.
Yeah.
And I just want to read out a stat that I saw on Reddit, which is hilarious. The Nets are now 19-3 when Ben Simmons doesn't make a free throw. They are 1-7 when he makes a free throw.
I mean, correlation equals causation. We should definitely make sure Simmons doesn't make any more free throws ever again, and the Nets will be on fire. That's how it works, yeah?
Absolutely.
That's actually a hilarious stat.
The Nets are doing pretty well at the moment. They've shut up to like second now, third.
Yeah,
second?
I think they're currently at the moment sitting in second. It's still pretty close up the top. The way that Boston have been inconsistent, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Nets jump up to first.
Well, Boston were like 6 games ahead, weren't they?
Oh, they had a big lead, but they've dropped a lot of like subpar games recently, so I could see the Nets moving up to first.
But it goes along with the West theme that like it's still super open on both sides. I think really you could say the top 5. Okay, maybe not the Kings for the Western Conference, but outside of the Kings, like almost the top 6 for both conferences could be a plausible conference final, NBA final contender.
100%. I think a big factor though, as of today, in the Heat versus Nets game, we had Jimmy Butler go up for a shot, get blocked by Simmons, and Jimmy on the way down collides with KD, who goes down holding his knee. So at the moment he's being assessed, I think.
He's down for an MRI.
Yeah.
He said that KD didn't feel that bad after the game. It's just a precautionary MRI. So
fingers crossed. It's actually not too bad, because we've seen KD on the sidelines for way too long. So hopefully he's healthy.
Hooping.
Yeah.
So I just want to quickly talk that so Ben Simmons at the moment is averaging 8 points a game. I'll round it up. 7 rebounds, 6 assists at 59% field goal, which, look, honestly, for a role player, isn't terrible. However, he's a max contracted player.
Yeah.
He's a very expensive role player.
Yeah.
So, look, I still think Ben has more to give. It's I think the Nets team's really exciting. Like, everyone's kind of popping off at the moment. People are playing well. So Ben Simmons doesn't really need to do much more than 10 points a game. And obviously he's here for his defense.
Contributes in more
rebounding
ways than points,
and assisting. So I don't want to completely, like, points isn't everything, but I think I'd like to see a little bit more from him.
Yeah.
Keep it a soft encouragement.
Yeah.
You're not rubbish. I'm glad you're playing. I'd just like to see a little bit more.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a change in mindset at least. He's definitely playing more aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Getting in there and looking a bit more like his old self.
He looks a lot less skittish, is the word I'd use. Yeah. Before, when he started the season, he looked like not afraid, but like that if he dropped the ball, it would shatter. It looked like he was trying to play basketball with like a glass ball.
Yeah. So, I think... Baby steps. I think, at this point you maybe want to see a bit more from him, but it's honestly the Nets are winning, so you can't argue with that.
Exactly.
As long as the team still performing
Kyrie's
well,
hasn't done anything too crazy yet, and
he had a great putback dunk though. The bench went wild.
My goodness, that was. He was like he was like in the press conference being like, "Yeah, I just thought people were disrespecting me and like didn't remember that I could dunk."
Yeah, sleeping on my athleticism.
Yeah, you know what? I agreed with that. I was like, talk your smack, bro. That like after that dunk, he can talk a bit of smack, in my opinion.
It was nice.
And I think because the way Kyrie finishes, like he doesn't usually like, you know, the way how he like finishes with like
it's finesse. It's never like aggression and power.
But I think people do forget he can be
alucinante como el picante. It's Harry's hot sauce.
Okay, Harry, play the hot sauce music now.
I feel like with the All-Star voting, the early preliminary fan votes in,
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I feel like we got to talk about that.
Let's talk about the West, because this is, I think, where we're mainly upset by is the West.
West is predominantly the West. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, pretty much the earliest votes are in from the fans, and it goes through the top 10 in front court, back court for each conference. The West is pretty much dominated by Golden State and the Los Angeles Lakers, both of which, well, actually the Golden State Warriors, we kind of stepped up a little bit, but these two teams were barely in playoff contention and had about 4 or 5 players from each roster represented, including Austin Reeves, And including some of the bench players. It's like, what's going on here, guys?
Let's run through. So for Golden State, you've got Andrew Wiggins, which I'm okay with Andrew Wiggins being up there.
Yep.
Draymond Green gets a fat no from me.
No.
Kevin Looney gets a maybe.
No, he's not an all-star.
No, yeah, okay.
I mean, he does his job well, but he's not an all-star.
Steph, yes.
Yep.
Steph is yes. He's just going to make it regardless.
Yep.
Klay Thompson is a big fat no.
Not this season.
I'm sorry. One 30-point game does not make you an all-star.
No, not this season.
And Jordan Poole, yes.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
I'll accept that.
Yeah.
But Klay and Draymond and Kevin Looney, absolutely not. Andrew Wiggins, maybe. But
yeah, he has a case.
Look, I'll give Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole, like, they have a case.
They have a case, yeah.
Steph, yes, but the rest, no way.
But more importantly, this is 6 players from one team that was barely even in playoff contention at time of voting.
Yep.
And then we have the Lakers, which at the time of voting were 12th, right?
Now they're 11th. They haven't gone that much higher.
Yeah, they've taken one step up. LeBron?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah,
of course.
No, he's balling.
Sure.
He deserves it, absolutely.
Like, can't be mad at that. AD?
No.
Healthy, maybe.
Absolutely
Injured?
not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Healthy, he'd have a case. Austin Reeves?
No.
Like, he's playing great for what his role is, but not an all-star. We're talking about all-star here. And then Russell Westbrook? No.
Maybe.
I mean, it has a case maybe.
I'll give him like, he's underneath like a Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
But I do. If he was front runner for 6 Man of the Year, does that make you an all-star?
No.
Okay.
No.
Then no.
No. Because we're talking about like, Jordan Clarkson, Joe Ingles level, and they were like 6 Man of the Year. Like, they're not all-stars. They were great off the bench, but not
I'll
all-stars.
I'll take that. Yeah.
So this is 10 players of the 20 slots from these 2 teams, including their bench warmers, effectively, which is absolutely wild. Harry, run us through the top teams in the West, the teams that are dominating, leading the league, should have players. How many from each team have they got?
Like 1 each.
Yeah.
Nuggets have Jokic.
Yep.
The Grizzlies have Ja. The Pelicans have Zion, which I'm like CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
Look, all of these teams have people that have other deserving people. I'm not just picking on CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
The Mavs have Luka,
which honestly is kind of fair.
which is okay. Yeah, that might be fair.
Yep.
The Kings have no one, which I feel like Fox at least, or
at least Sabonis or Fox.
Yeah.
Sabonis is leading the league in rebounds while contributing a huge step up in points. Fox is all right, don't get me started.
Don't get me started on how trash the Kings are. Which
how good the Kings are this season.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Come on.
They're playing. Look, they're
fan.
playing great.
I gotta stand up for them.
They're playing good.
They're 5th in the West above the Clippers, who, by the way, are meant to be the top in the West this season according to betting odds. So just saying the Kings are being boss. Yeah, the Clippers are meant to be top.
I need to bet on this stuff. Honestly, I could have told you instantly the Clippers weren't going to be number 1. That year that the Lakers didn't make it, I could have made so much money. And then the Clippers have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, which the other day against where's my stat? Where's my stat where they played against the Nuggets and they had at halftime they were combined 3 from 16 for 9 points.
Ooh. Yeah. So they haven't had the best seasons either. So, all right, pretty much the point I'm trying to get to. This is where the hot sauce kicks in. We've heard the voting stats. This is what I think. And this is going to be a spicy take and then a bit of reasoning behind it.
Okay.
So first of all,
how do you fix this?
I think that fans shouldn't vote on the All-Star game.
Okay.
Now, I know this sounds wild because obviously important things are like the engagement of fans. This is the celebration mid-season. You want the fans to be involved. You want to feel them like part of the experience.
You're insane, Ben.
Fair enough.
What we do about the fans.
But I have reasoning behind this because I think you have a lot of players that are snubbed because they're not the most flashy. They're not the biggest market teams. They pretty much get snubbed when their performance has been incredible. And secondly, I think there's another way you can get fans involved. Okay. And this is my proposition. Okay. I think fans should vote.
Propose to me.
And in fact, I think fans should get the only vote and not the media or the coaches or anything like that. I think the All-Star Game dunk contest, the Rising Stars, things like that, the Skills Challenge, 3-point contest, the fans should get to vote on that. Because you don't need to be the biggest star. You can be Austin Reeves and be in the 3-point contest, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to be an all-star caliber player.
Except no one wants to show up to the dunking contest because it's so inconsistently scored.
But this is why I think the fans should get votes as well, because we've had in the most recent years, like we've had a few guys that have been pretty fire, but we haven't had the best dunkers in my opinion. No shade thrown, but
but that's because they don't want to show up.
Yeah, we've had a drop down. I think if you could get the fans voting on this and get some actual players they want to see in the dunk contest, you would have some of the craziest, most memorable dunk contests. You used to have MJ and stuff in these. Now, obviously, you don't want to risk injury for your stars, but
no, it's not even that. It's the scoring.
Yeah,
they need to fix the scoring system.
Yeah. I think that's the second part. If they can fix the scoring, maybe this would work.
Okay,
but
so
that's what I propose.
All-Star. So what? So All-Star voting is what?
It should be based on like maybe coaches and media have some input, but there needs to be like a point-based, like actual stats and like performance. Because if you play your heart out, have a fire season, you can still get snubbed because you're not in the biggest market, notably the Kings players. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting.
So okay,
it's a bit wild, but
let's just pull up just for fun. So using this, where are my stats? Using this method, let's just go with offensive leaders, okay?
Because generally defensive players don't get into the All-Star game that much, except maybe Gobert. It's predominantly all-round play.
Okay, so that means like we'd have Luka, Embiid, Giannis, SGA, Tatum. Yeah, that could. But then Ja probably deserves it. But like, what if you run out of positions?
Well, see, this is why it's partially stats, partially still coaches and media. Because these guys are the experts. Look, the media makes some dumb calls, don't get me wrong. But I think they have better opinions than fans who are just voting for whoever they like. Like Austin Reeves and Kevin Looney.
What makes you an all-star?
I mean, look, that's a tough question. I suppose we could take ages talking about this. But I think a lot of it is stats. I think
is it
individual performance,
also
but team is part of it as well.
So does that mean like Lauri Markkanen's in the top 20? Should he be an all-star?
Depends on how the Jazz are going. I think that's part of it. Like his stats are decent enough, but then I think you have to look at how the team's going as well. So if the Jazz are bottom of the league, then no, I don't think he should necessarily be an all-star. But look, yeah, I think even if you went off stats alone, you end up with a much more balanced outcome, I think, team-wise. You don't end up... And look, Wiggins last season seemed crazy. He was an all-star starter, but it kind of ended up being deserved because in the playoffs he was on fire. But you don't end up with this just influx of votes just from these fan bases that are wild, like Golden State, Lakers, things like that.
Okay.
So no shade to fans because, look, you obviously got to back your guys. You got to support your team. And voting is fun, but it's rough when certain markets absolutely dwarf others. Yeah, exactly. Because Sacramento probably not one of the biggest fan bases, understandably, 16-year drought from the playoffs, but they've been having a great season. They should at least have one player representing them. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that. I don't have a perfect solution.
Yeah.
Maybe I've just thought of this on the fly, but maybe you have a cap on how many people from each team.
Perhaps.
What if you did like a max 3? So like if there was like several good players that they have the opportunity, but then you wouldn't be ridiculously giving 6 people.
It's not a bad idea. The only thing I could think of is if you had a team that genuinely had 4 all-star caliber players, but that's so rare that it wouldn't happen that much.
I think also the other problem is that the media can evil and get people that they want in as well.
That is true. Look, the media honestly have some pretty questionable takes as well.
Russ or AD will make it just for being in the Lakers and being with LeBron. I'm calling it now. One of those two will make it, and I don't think either of them deserve it.
Yeah, but that's why I think a balance of stats to back it up with the media opinion as well.
Possibly.
If AD and Russ don't have the stats, that doesn't even put them in the conversation. So, yeah, just a thought. I guess put your comments if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube. Put a comment below. Contact us. See what you think would be a good suggestion.
How do you fix this?
Yeah, how do you fix it?
We like to try and fix the league every so often.
Because obviously when we come around to actual announcement time for the All-Stars, it'll be more balanced, but we're not going to see Kevin Looney starting. But
Austin Reeves isn't going to make it.
No.
AC didn't make it, and I think Alex Caruso is way more popular than Austin Reeves ever was.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, just some thoughts. We will see how it goes, but
yeah, let me know what you think of that.
Pretty crazy.
Look, I think at the end of the day, I think something about how the All-Stars are selected needs to be tweaked.
Yeah. Because it seems a bit more of a popularity contest than an actual reflection of how they're playing that season. So, yeah.
Well, thanks for listening to today's episode. This is episode 37 of the Hoopinions NBA podcast. Please give us a like. Thanks, Mum, my girlfriend, and my girlfriend's mum for listening. Really appreciate it.
Check us out on TikTok, on Insta when we get that going, on YouTube. Look us up, Hoopinions, and yeah, stay in touch. There is so much going on. We're going to keep you posted, and have a good one.